Hey, my lovers and friends, it's your girl Tiffany Rochelle here, the people's cheerleader, and I am about to volunteer you to do something. I know you're probably wondering, what am I about to volunteer you for? Well, this is what I need for you to do. I need you to like and subscribe to this show and this channel. So if you will, go ahead and minimize the screen and hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn those notifications on because that's important for you to be able to stay connected with me and the community. So like this show, subscribe to this channel, and make sure you stay tuning in. I also need for you to make sure that you share this show with somebody. You never know whose life you're going to be impacting by sharing this with someone. So show me that sharing is caring in your life and share this show with someone. So I'm going to stop talking right now so we can get to my amazing VIP that's here with me on tonight. Here we go. Hey, I see you.
There we go. And where are you located, lovely soul?
My soul?
No, lovely soul. You as a lovely soul.
I'm picking at you. I was just giving you a hard time. I will give you a hard time. I live in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, where are you at?
I'm in the exact opposite side of the country. I'm in California.
Come on. Well, I do believe the West Coast is the best coast.
Well, there you go. Well, I grew up on the East Coast, but I've been out here, but I'm 61. I've been out here for probably 30 years.
Wow.
Long time. Yeah.
And see, what's a fun fact for me is I was actually, I'm from the Northwest, which I'm from Seattle. So
okay.
That's one of the reasons why I believe the West Coast is the best coast. Okay. I've just been on the West Coast the East Coast for about 17 years now. So.
And what had you go out there? Oh, really?
Yeah, I love the weather. So I guess you could say I was anemic and I was always cold.
I get it. Yeah.
So I went down there one time for a vacation. And once I went for vacation, I was like, oh, it's warm out here. So one thing I did not understand is when I would watch the weather and it was like, oh, there's hurricanes out there. And to me, they were still naked outside because they had tank tops on, real short shorts on, and flip-flops. So I'm like, why are you guys out there? It's raining outside. How? It didn't compute to me because in Seattle, when it rains, it gets cold. Well, it's not like cold, but it's colder. You put a jacket on, it's just cold. So I went down there, and while it was raining, I'm like, oh, I get why they're naked now with tank tops on and such, because it's hot like hellfire. It's hot. So I was like, if the rain feels like this with heat, this is where I need to be at. So that was during the summertime. By November, had my whole house packed up, me and kids gone.
Oh my gosh. And that was 17 years ago?
Yes.
Wow.
So I was not playing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that was the best time of my life. I promise you it was. So I was born and raised in Seattle, but I say I grew up in Florida.
Okay.
Because that's where I was able to kind of mature. I was able to feel life, find myself. So it was a whole different individual that I was able to become. And it's not that, I didn't like who I was. I didn't know me. So once I got to Florida, I was able to discover I became a mom at 15. So life happened for real. So I didn't really know nobody outside of being a mom. And I was a young wife too. I was a wife at 15 also.
Oh my gosh.
So for me, what was my identity? I didn't know who that was. So I didn't discover that until I moved down to Florida. So that's why I say I grew up there. That was the best thing for me to do, is to move there. Amazing things happen.
Wow. So then your baby is 17. Well, no, I mean,
my baby is going to be 22 in October. So I have 3. My oldest is 27. Well, September and October, all of their birthdays are 4 days apart.
It makes it easy.
It definitely does. So come September, I'll have 27, 26, and 22. Right?
And are they all still close by?
Well, they're all in Seattle.
Oh,
So
okay. So they're still there. Okay, got
mhm.
it.
Once
Okay.
COVID happened, they decided, well, my baby boy wanted to go to high school in Seattle. So their dad's still there. And so the baby boy wanted to go to school in high school in Seattle. So, all right, fine. Well, I mean, I did everything I could for you anyway. All right.
Mm.
So he went to high school there. My oldest son wanted to stay in Seattle. And then once COVID happened, my daughter decided to move up to Seattle. Because I'm strict, I'm isolated. Ain't nobody coming in, you ain't going out, you're stuck in a box. We don't see nothing. I'm scared. Not really scared, but I don't want nothing happening. If I can control it, I'm gonna try to control it. So that's kind of what she was like, all right, I'm gonna go up to Seattle. That's what she did. She moved up there. So then I became an empty nester for real, during COVID. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Wow. I never experienced life without somebody being around, rather it was parents, kids, husband at that time. We were divorced. But that was the first time I was by myself for real.
Mm.
So that was interesting.
Wow, what an incredible story. That's amazing.
Very different, right? Didn't expect that, did you?
Well, no, but I also had no preconceived notions either.
Right.
So
It was the fact, no, but that.
no, but I love to hear people's stories. It's just, I think it's, yeah, they're just so fascinating how we as individual souls have tracked, different, yeah, especially, I've been on the planet 61 years.
I
I
still
look back,
don't believe you. Where's your ID? Get it.
you're very kind. I love
Block
you.
out your ID, block out your address. I need to see. Oh, wait,
No,
address and ID.
you can see my address. It's good. No, so it's just amazing, and especially, in the area of mental health, you hear some really. I did a did a training yesterday at this incredible county
Okay.
that is about 2 hours away from me, and I've done a lot of work with them over like the last 3 years. They've been a huge supporter, and so this was a training which is great. I'm amazed that I don't have any credentials. I'm just
Okay.
me.
Uh-huh.
And I did training for their behavioral health staff.
Wow.
I know. And 3/4 of the people there had heard me speak before, which was, kind of cool. I just asked that question just in case, like, okay, do I need to do a little backstory? Yeah. Um, but the reason I bring this up is there were not one, but two parents there who had lost children. One was at 16 in a traffic accident, and the other at 20 in a sports accident. And I'm like, oh,
That's
I
heartbreaking.
don't know how you could. I mean,
I know.
so just the story, and it can't, and just because the training was on trauma informed care.
Okay.
And I'm a rape survivor as a child, so I can talk a lot about it.
Sure.
But I met those two individual, and they both were caseworkers.
Okay.
It was more after the training, and they were talking about their individual situations, and I was just like, how do you overcome that?
Yeah.
I don't,
Mhm.
and there they were, both working in mental health, which was incredible. So
Yeah. Do you have kids yourself?
I do now. So I was married before, and my former bride and I are still really good friends, and she's an amazing woman. So Deanna and we didn't have kids, but Rochelle, at one point we ran, which at the time I really think was probably the best in the world,
Uh-huh.
animal sanctuary.
Okay.
And it was home to as many as 100 animals at any one time. And we were end of life.
Okay. Okay.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
So
Now
now,
explains all the dogs in the background.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And these are, I mean, I could bore you with so many stories. um, well, what's interesting, just as a note, well, this is kind of, I was on a podcast this morning. It was kind of neat. It was a student from Africa
Okay.
And he had found out, and he said, "Gosh, would you please come on my podcast?" I'm like, "Oh my God, of course I would. It'd be an honor to be of service."
Yeah.
So at one point, I told him, I said, "Brother, this behind me here is a flag,
Okay.
and the flag was made by the students of a dear friend of mine's elementary school class, and it says Chance for Bliss, which was the name of the sanctuary. That flag went to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, which of course is in Africa."
Yeah.
Taken by an incredible man named Paul Costello as a fundraiser for the sanctuary. So I just thought it's kind of amazing that I'm on a podcast in Africa and there's a flag behind me that went to Africa.
That is cool.
So
something else too. Balances Ranch.
what now?
It says something else. Balances Ranch. Because I seen once you scooted over.
Oh, so on the top is Bucher's Brainiacs. That's what my friend is, Larry Bucher, and he called his class the Brainiacs. And the school was Whittier Ranch. So it was January of 2010.
Okay.
And then so Mount Kilimanjaro, Rochelle on the right, and then Paul Costello, who was a wonderful man, who went, that thing is 20,000 feet.
Oh, wow. I couldn't
That thing, oh my God, I live at sea level. What?
You got my eyes watering. I thought I had allergies already in my nose and stuff, but you can hear it. You saying that, I'm like, oh, I can't breathe.
Can you imagine? So it was just incredible that I'm speaking to this wonderful young man who I applauded, like, bless your heart, to be, to create a podcast about mental health, and you're so young and you're advocating for it. And so my fiance, Summer, who asked me to marry her, by the way.
How did that feel?
Oh, it was ridiculously, unbelievably great.
Okay.
It was, I mean, what Summer did, she could write, like, it was, you want to talk about romantic?
Yeah.
It was unreal.
Yeah. Did you wait forever?
What do you mean?
Was you waiting for a long time? That's why she ended up proposing? Or
no, I don't think so. That's a good question. No, we were at the 3-year mark. I think she just wanted to take me off the market, is what it was. She's walking by right now and smiling. But check. So let me tell you. So we were. So anyway, let me circle the question, and I'll come back to. So Summer has 3 amazing children, Ethan, Bella, and Gracie, and we all live together. So I got a chance at so Summer's 20 years younger than I.
How about that?
The kids are 19, 16, 13.
Okay.
So, but we've been together for 6 years. So it's this wonderful opportunity. Really, what I want to do every day is to try to replicate what I witnessed my 3 brothers being as dads. And my 3 brothers are unbelievably magnificent. Not perfect, but they're incredible. They're incredible men. And my eldest is really more my dad than my brother. We lost our father. I was just 7. They're 6, 9, 11 years older. So my eldest brother, John, really, when our father died at that point, he really kind of stepped in. And he is even now more, and at one point, maybe I can share, he even in the last year, upped his involvement to be of support. So anyway, all right. So we're at the 3-year mark. We go to, there's a place called Lake Tahoe, which is incredible.
Yep.
So we're there with so it's Summer and I, it's the kids, and then 3 of their best friends, and so we have this schedule.
Yeah.
And it's a Tuesday night. It says Summer and David.
Okay.
Time. So anyway, so we go, and she's got this big bag, and behind the cabin that we had was this, you walk down the hill and there was this beautiful, like a stream, and it's in the mountains and everything. We're sitting there. I love cheese and crackers. So she's got cheese and crackers, brings out, I love cheese and crackers, brings out some wine. Okay. And we're just talking. And then Rochelle pulls out this book. Like,
it's a book.
Like, I mean, not quite as big as the flag, but it's close. And it's basically our story. And I'm like, oh my God. So evidently she has hired this artist. And so we're going through it. She's turning the pages and we're like, this is incredible. And at the second to the last page at the bottom, it says, I need to ask you a question. Turns the page, and across in huge letters on the next 2 pages, it says, will you marry me?
I need to find some tissue. I know I got some tissue in here somewhere. Hold on.
And then pops out this ring right here that I'm wearing.
Yeah. Oh.
Like ridiculous.
Oh, I
so then,
love it.
and then we come back up to the cabin.
Mhm.
Everybody knew. The kids knew. I'm like, you
so
guys know?
you're the only one in the dark.
I was the only one. Absolutely. I was the only one in the dark. So it's incredible. Anyway, so
yes.
yeah. So it was interesting. I'll just to finish the thought. So I mean, summer's amazing. So well, you'll appreciate.
I mean, summer is amazing. My birthday's in summer.
When is your birthday?
That is great.
When is your birthday?
August 12th.
Oh, hers is okay. August 21st.
Sorry,
you too.
Transposed.
Exactly. So my beloved, in May graduated from grad school, and she is now a school psychologist.
Really?
So mental health kind of runs in the family. So
I was getting ready to say that's a family thing. Then
no, it is. I'm leaning down right now to get Miss Lexi.
You so do love dogs. Well, animals is what you said, but I see dogs. So no, that's not that picture.
No. This is no. So all that is no longer.
Okay.
But it was an amazing, and Deanna is fabulous.
Yeah.
Dee lives in Texas now.
Okay.
And is doing great.
Oh.
But so it's interesting this journey. So this journey with mental health has been really my whole life.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my birth father had died of cancer, but from what my brothers tell me, he had horrific depression. And his father, my grandfather, killed himself. So I was in the genetic line. And if you look at my 3 brothers, my wonderful brothers, no depression, nothing. Thank God.
Okay.
So you think like, what happened to me? Well, unfortunately, it was being raped by a Boy Scout leader at 12. So that was it.
That definitely will change it.
So then I was gonna attempted to kill myself on August 31st, 2011, and then began this journey, as I say, from mental illness to mental wellness, and learned how to take care of myself and therapy and meds, and just and I don't miss, like I'm like ridiculous. Like if Dr. Rochelle says, okay, you need to do this, and I'm doing it.
Okay.
So last year, crazy busy, literally all over the world. Mostly working with the military and helping them with their issue with suicide.
Okay.
So end of last year, Rochelle, I dove into a place of depression that was worse than I'd ever experienced. Wow. And the bizarre thing is, it wasn't like I didn't stop taking my meds. I didn't miss my counseling appointments. It was just summer things. It was just, I was imbalanced because I didn't have enough downtime.
Okay. It happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like hellness on steroids.
Okay.
That it went. And evidently, and I don't even remember this, that in the worst moments at the beginning of this year, I would wake up and beg her to let me die.
Wow. You were really ready to go.
Oh my God. Again. Wow. No, it had been before.
Right, you did say time before. So this is too. Wow.
So thankfully, so there's where, so I call them my 2 North Stars.
Okay.
Summer and my eldest brother.
Okay.
And they just like,
which is Dad.
Yes, exactly. Which is just so, and they got me into what's known as ECT, or electroconvulsive therapy. Okay. So shock therapy.
Yeah.
32 sessions later, the most recent of which was last Friday, changed my life.
Really?
It is, Rochelle, it has done things. I don't even think, an incredible doctor, Dr. Lauren Marassa, I don't even think, you know what? I was talking to somebody the other day, we were having a conversation about how, if a child has sexual trauma, it just really screws up the developing, because the mind is still developing. I, Rochelle, actually think, and maybe it's because I've had so many sessions, I think that ECT is like a remodeling crew.
Okay.
And it's gone in and been and done some things to my mind that it's incredible. I mean, and yeah, it's amazing. It's almost hard to describe. It's
So you feel so much better since you've done this. How many have you done, you said?
I've done, hold on, help me, Mama.
I don't want to interview you.
I
Go
know.
somewhere.
Exactly.
Sir.
So I've done average for people. Summer told me this, I didn't know it.
Okay.
Is like 11 to 12. I've had 32.
You did say 32. Yeah.
30, and I'm not done. So at the beginning of the year, I was going 3 times a week.
Wow.
Like it was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So then it is slowly but surely went 3 times a week, twice a week, once a week. So now I'm like once a month.
Yeah.
And we'll do that till the end of the year, and then we'll figure out, Dr. Marassa has some patients that come like maybe once a quarter. Like, okay, because there's so much stigma and misinformation and fear around ECT because people have watched One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest and they think that you're going to like wake up in the middle or you're going to be catatonic or I'm like, none of that's happened.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I go and take a nap.
And you wake up and you're feeling great, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little groggy because I'm under general anesthesia, so it takes a little while. But I'll tell you, the relationships that I've created with my doctor and the nurses there, it's an incredibly sacred, and I was there this last visit, and Amanda, one of the nurses, we were talking as I was just kind of coming out of, I was out of general anesthesia, but just coming and getting in recovery mode. Rochelle, she looked at me and she said, David, I got to tell you something. And I said, what? And she said, of all the patients that we had, we were pulling for you the most.
You're so loved.
Oh my God. Well, let me add this one last thing and then I'll stop.
You're so loved.
Dad. So my beloved brother, 42 years in the Army, enlisted, ended up as a 2-star general.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah. But you wouldn't know it because he's incredibly humble. So every day, Rochelle, my day starts with a text.
From Dad?
Yeah. Dad's 72. The text. And he'll tell me the text will be, here's what he's doing.
Sure.
And then it's the guidance for me.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget to do this, or remember what we talked about, and this. And then at the end of the text, every day, motivational quote. Every day. And check this out. So God,
are we talking like Sunday through Saturday every day? Or is this
Rochelle, we're talking about from January 1st until
now. Hey y'all, it's Tiffany Rochelle here, and I have a few offers just for you. The first one is my book, and it's called I Choose Me. Now, I have had to fight in some type of way or another, but the best fight that I fought is the battle of me. The old me versus the emerging me. Now, the old me always threw some good punches, but the emerging me knew how to stick and move because I learned the art of endurance. Try to hold hate with love, and you tell me who is strong. The second offer is a workbook I have called Gold Digger. Now, there are about 47 activities that we will go through so that you will be able to crush some of your goals for your life. You purchasing this book is one of the first of many steps to bettering your life. Lastly, I have a course on forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't just a nice thing to do. It can also be a powerful tool to bring marvelous change in your life. In this course, you'll learn how to effectively use the skills of forgiveness to help you lead a more peaceful and satisfying life. So, today, unleash the power of forgiveness to create a more meaningful life. Next, I want you to learn that it is okay for you to choose you. And lastly, develop a mindset to see and crush some of your goals. Looking so forward to growing with you. I'm excited for you and your growth. Grace and peace.
There has never been a day that he has missed. When he went on vacation, because he's retired, and now he's a professional diver in Mexico.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Last Wednesday,
Okay.
bless his soul, he had a surgical procedure to have stem cells put in his ankle because the poor man's been in pain.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, because when I woke up, he lives in Illinois, so he's a couple hours ahead of me.
Sure.
So usually the quote, the text is there by the time I wake up, and I'm like, it wasn't there, and I'm like, oh, God love him, bless his heart.
Yeah.
About 15 minutes later, there it is.
Thought you got away with something.
God love it. And then you know what happens at the end of every day?
What?
He and I talk on the phone.
This is daily.
Every day.
Oh.
He did it. The man is just, it's,
That
and
is
so, and he, he holds me accountable.
Yeah.
And he just,
I love it.
and then my other two.
Brother, Dad, I love you.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
But it was interesting yesterday at the beginning of the training, I asked these beautiful souls who are in mental health and taking care of people like me. I said, well, what do you want, the end of 90 minutes, when you walk out the door, what do you want to leave with? So like one guy wanted to say, well, what were some of the warning signs when you were headed towards depression? And one guy wanted to talk about meds, and somebody wanted to talk about more trauma. But then woman right in front of me, like that was right here, she said, I want to talk about like, what's the value and what kind of support have you had? And I'm like, okay, like,
yeah,
I could talk about 90 minutes on that.
Yeah.
So I have extraordinary people in my life. I have no bad people. There's none. And it goes to like all these different levels. It would go to like 10 levels deep in terms of like what's the significance or of the relationships.
Okay.
But there's so many levels. It's incredible.
Wow.
It is. Yeah.
So out of this time, what would you say is the most powerful thing? If somebody interacted with you, what would be the thing that you would like to leave with them in coming in contact with you?
Yep. That the single most important thing I think in life is connection.
Yeah.
And I base it all on Brene Brown, who says, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and they derive strength and sustenance from the relationship. Yes.
Oh,
with that, everything is possible.
Yeah.
Because from there, it is impossible not to experience hope.
Yeah.
And hope is defined as the feeling that what is wanted can be had. And so in my work in suicide prevention, I say, when somebody like me feels hope, we're safe. Because if what is wanted, if hope is what is wanted can be had, so if what I want is the end of my unbearable emotional pain, if I'm in a space where I feel like that's actually possible, I'm not going to kill myself.
Okay.
And if hope comes out of being connected, and how could you not feel hopeful when you feel seen, heard, and valued? course you're going to feel hopeful.
Absolutely.
You can't not feel hopeful. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like.
Oh, I love that. Wow. I mean, I love everything that you've said here. I mean, you've given me so much. I feel like I know you. We're like best friends right now.
Oh, I know. Now wait, so its first name is it Tiffany or is it Rochelle?
Tiffany's my first name.
Oh, I am so sorry.
It's not
Well,
even for you to be sorry about.
well, but you know, but here,
Here's the thing, the reason why I say that is because I promise you, and it kind of made me smile. When you look at this, you'll probably see it. I'm like, I need to start coming to groups with a lot of people just are starting to call me Rochelle. It's
see,
so, to me, it's cute. And it's almost as if, like if somebody calls you by your last name and they're like, hey, it's just funny to me. I like it. I mean, you did some great talking there. And you shared about, I love the fact that you shared your story. You're engaged. That was so cute. I love that. You gave me history on your life. And that's what I love. And then you shared with us what your mental health story was and where you're at now. And so for me, that's always been what I've been about is
okay.
where your past has been. It's kind of how we started the conversation. It's like, you were like, hey, who are you? And I was like, guess what? When I was 15, I ended up getting married. I was pregnant, and I'm a mom of 3. I shared my story of my past and where I'm at now. That's major for me. So mental health is super big for you and it's something that's super major and you share with it how it's impacted your life and how you're progressing today. I think the only thing that you haven't shared with us is like how we get in contact with you. And,
Well, if I can,
sure.
do I have time to tell a couple stories? And I think you're really so my belief is
Yeah.
that in terms of it, suicide prevention is because I want to make prevention doable. Because when we think about it now, it's just like it's too big. Like you got to be a clinician and those are great, but what if I could show you a different response? I don't like to use the word solution. Just and it's based on there's an amazing man. He's a psychiatrist. His name is Dr. Drew Ramsey. Yeah. And Dr. Ramsey he's a crazy man on Instagram. My God, you see him all over the place. But he's so psychiatrist, specialist in suicide, really big into brain gut health. So he's a farmer. He's a professor at Columbia, published author. So here's what he says. And Tiffany, this is when I read this. This is it in a nutshell. And here's what he says. Someone you see today is thinking about killing themselves. Your smile, your question, your love could save them. Trust me, they told me it did.
Yeah. And that's a reality.
It is. And so then what I say is like, okay, if connection, we defined it by Brene Brown, seen, heard, valued, creates this thing called hope, the feeling that what is wanted can be had. Okay, I'm gonna be safe if I'm hopeful. So then the question becomes, because that's empirical, that's formulaic. That's not touchy-feely. That's like a formula.
Sure.
So then the question becomes, okay, well, how do you create connection? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. 3 ways. And this is why when I realized I was calling you by your last name, I was like, oh. It's recognition, understanding, and expression. What I teach in my trainings, in my speeches, first thing I say, become great at people's names.
Yeah.
Like, do that. Because we all know what it's like when someone remembers our name and we had no expectation. We're like, it's incredible. It's recognition because people like me, we're in front of you, but we're in isolation. And all of a sudden you say, David, my God, it is so great to see you. I'm like, I didn't think Tiffany knew who that guy was.
You knew my name.
The great Dale Carnegie, who wrote the amazing book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, said, to a person, the sound of that person's name is the sweetest sound in any language. So do that. Then second, it's questions. We see stuff that we don't understand, Tiffany, all the time.
Yeah.
And we want to say, why? And what I would like people who listen to this podcast for the rest of your life, never ask a why question.
Okay.
Never.
Why
Because
do you
why?
Look, here I go.
Because why? Because it puts people on defensive.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, change it to what?
Uh-huh.
So instead of like, why did you do that? It's, hey, what inspired you to do that?
Uh-huh.
So we became very well known in our work in the sanctuary, Deanna and I. And we were the place that dying animals, that's where they went. And the level of care was incredible. It was, and I give all credit to my former bride,
Sure.
just phenomenal.
Okay.
So one day we get a call from an animal shelter. And the story is, old man, 80 plus years old, walks in, old dog, Basset Hound Cross.
Okay.
Goes to the shelter worker and says, hey, I was out on my daily walk and I found this dog. Looked all around him, felt around. He has no identification. I didn't know what else to do. I should bring him in here.
Okay.
And the shelter worker's like, as you can imagine, like, oh my God, sir, thank you so much. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, if you do me this favor, I'm going to take him in the back and scan him for a microchip. He probably doesn't have it because he's really old and they didn't microchip back then.
Right.
If you would please fill out, just give us your name and number and where you found him, just in case we need to get in touch with you.
Okay.
So shelter worker takes this old dog in the back to scan for microchip. Old man fills out the information. Shelter worker comes back and said, oh my God, I cannot believe it. He's microchipped. He said, sir, you've saved this dog's life.
Wow.
Thank you so much. And just overwhelmed, and it takes the information from the man and just happens to compare it to the information on the microchip. It matches. The reality is this dog, old dog,
Yeah.
is this man's dog. Now, Tiffany, had I been there, I'd have opened up a can of whoop ass, like the likes of which you had not seen. Just like, you SOB? Are you kidding me? But you know what?
What?
In the presence of something that makes no sense, do you know what the shelter worker asked that man?
What did she ask?
Sir, what happened?
Okay.
And at that point, the man burst into tears.
Okay.
And he said, this is Joshua. I've had Joshua for 16 years.
Okay.
There's nothing more important to me in the world than my dog. My dog is my world.
Yeah.
I'm dying. And I'm going into a medical facility tomorrow.
Okay.
And they won't let me take Joshua. And I begged and I pleaded and I offered to pay money. And they said, no. And I panicked.
Okay.
And I thought if I came in here and told you the truth, that you would put Joshua to sleep right away. But I know that my boy still has time.
Oh.
And only because of the question that extraordinary soul asked,
Yeah.
she now knew the story. And because she knew the story, you know what she said? Sir, there's a sanctuary down the hill and they take in old dogs like Joshua.
Yeah.
How about we pick up the phone and call and see if they have room for one more?
Okay.
And the only reason that Joshua got to live the next year and a half
Okay.
being loved and adored is because, think about it, Tiff, one person asked one question. What if we did that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last story.
Yeah.
So recognition, all about name.
Yeah.
Questions, all about using what, not why. And then expressing, like, we got to let each other know how we feel. So I do a lot of work with the Army.
Yeah.
And so I was working with a battalion. A battalion's about 500 to 600 soldiers. And it's
Right.
led by a colonel.
Yeah.
And so I worked with this battalion in my base talk. I call it the why of suicide and the how of hope.
Sure.
So end of the last day, Colonel Trouse, Daniel Trouse, we had become really tight by this point. He said, David, would you please come to my office? Absolutely, sir. My pleasure. So I show up and he said, David, I cannot thank you enough for what you have taught me, my soldiers, over these last 3 days. But he said, David, I am incredibly angry.
Mm.
And he said, David, I'm not mad at you.
Uh-huh.
I said, David, what happened to you when you were a new Boy Scout, I can't accept that. I can't, David, I can't process that.
Yeah.
So David, I was an Eagle Scout. David, the Boy Scouts were my life.
Wow.
David, who I am as a colonel, as a leader, as a commander, as a father, as a husband, as a man, I learned in the Boy Scouts.
Uh-huh.
And for what happened to you, I can't tolerate that.
Sure.
And then Tiff, he takes his hand and he pulls out his wallet out of his back pocket.
Okay.
And he pulls out a card. He's facing me.
Okay.
And I'm confused because it looks like a credit card. And he said, David, when you become an Eagle Scout, you get one of these. And he turns it around and said, it's an Eagle Scout card.
Yeah.
You talk to any Eagle Scout, they have their card.
Yeah.
So David, I got my card on November 3rd, 1998. He said, it means it's everything.
Yeah.
And then he gave the card to me and I held it. And I said, wow, sir, that's extraordinary. And then I go to give the card back. And he says, no, you keep it. You've earned it.
Oh, you still have it.
I always have it with me.
Oh, that is, would you become one? Or
No,
because you have it, you became one?
exactly. And I can't tell you how many talks I've given
Yeah.
where at the end of the talk, an Eagle Scout will come up and pull out his wallet and show me his card.
Wow.
And you say, and so, you think about that man
Yeah.
gave me part of himself when he found out what happened.
Right.
Like we can do that
Uh-huh.
for each other.
You can. And it's just that one moment in time could have it change. It changes a life. It changes
So
your
much
yeah.
healing happened when he gave me that card. And
Absolutely.
I can tell I can tell the story. I talked at length, at very detail yesterday in the training because it was about trauma. I'm totally okay with it because you know what was in my back pocket the entire time? This.
Yeah.
That man. That's and you know what this card is? This is prevention.
Yeah.
Right here. That's exactly what this is.
Wow.
This is prevention.
Wow.
And remember, someone you see today is thinking about killing themselves. Your smile, your question, your love could save them. Trust me, they told me it did.
Yeah. And
It's that easy.
It's that easy. It's amazing. And sometimes I'll sit on here. I know my mom told me one time, she was like, I watch your shows. And every time I watch your shows, you just sit there sometimes with a smile on your, sometimes I'm smiling, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I have a stern face. But then I smile and my smile now is genuine. And you have absolutely, and I say it, there's a story behind that. But I say that because you never know how a smile can impact somebody's day. There's several occasions, I promise you, I can tell you it happens at least once a week to me, that I'll go down the aisle of a store, I walk now, I finally have achieved my level of success for my weight that I wanted. But I'll walk down the street or, I just become, there's never a stranger for me. Anytime I meet somebody, you never leave a stranger.
Right.
But it's just my hi, how you doing? And I'm never that person that's walking and passing somebody and say, hey, how you doing? And, hey, how you doing? I'm stopping, I wanna wait. You can keep walking, I'm gonna find you. Because if I'm asking you how you're doing, I'm genuinely concerned. I ask for a reason, or I'll just say hi to a person. I never want to be that person that just aimlessly speaks to a person. And if I'm asking you how you are, I really want to know. Something probably sparked within me when you passed by that you know what, I need to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How are
Mm-hmm.
you? And one
Mm-hmm.
guy told me one time I was walking in Walmart, he says, wow, you have a gorgeous smile. In fairness, I was only smiling because somebody had walked past me and their arms were really ripe. It's the best way I can put it.
I get it.
And when they walked past, I was like, God, whoa, you really walked out the house like, so it was just that fast. I was like, oh, whoa, you really walked out the house. And I just kind of laughed at it. It just became funny to me because I don't know what that person's situation was. But it was something that made me aggravated because I just couldn't believe it. But it was something that impacted that person that was walking through. I had this big old smile on my face, and they're like, you have a gorgeous smile. Like, I needed to see that today. And I'm like, my brain had to shut off because I'm like, you don't know why I'm smiling.
Right. No, exactly. Exactly.
So I had to immediately shut it off. But at that point in time, I didn't care what bothered me to make me smile. I'm just grateful that my smile impacted your day and it changed something. We had a conversation later on, but I was grateful that my smile was able to change that person's day because they wasn't feeling that well that day.
Exactly.
So a smile can completely change somebody's life. And then you asking questions, everything that you said definitely matters because that's totally how I feel. Asking the right questions. And you're right, asking the why. If you want to know more, it's not the why, because that really does get you on the defense and it causes you to shut down. And if you want to create a good dialogue, why is not going to get you
Mm-mm.
there. So,
And
why?
every why question can be transformed into a what question. It
Mhm.
can. Sometimes it's a little clumsy, but
And it
it
can be.
it can be. And the name thing is just like next time. So next time you are out, out to eat somewhere,
Yeah.
try this.
Uh-huh.
So the server,
Yeah.
whether they introduce themselves or not, somehow at that first interaction, you want to get their name.
Uh-huh.
Then every single time they come back,
Uh-huh.
use their name.
Oh, I'm intentional with that though.
It's amazing, and to watch the
It's a game changer.
transformation, it's incredible.
It's totally a game changer. But I
It is
always, when they come to my table anyway, I'm like, I want to know how you're doing and what's
right.
going on. And I like to see what's in your world. Because I'm not a difficult person, but I can be. And I'm saying it that way if I happen to order a burger. I'm like, hey, I need a burger. Can you fry the egg? But I don't want it said, you got to do it hard. I just know I like specifics. So that
Sure.
can irritate somebody. So if you're already frustrated and you're already frazzled and people done pissed you off,
Mm,
I'm not trying to be that one to add
mm.
to it. So once you come over, hey sugar, how you doing? What's going on? What's your day like? And I will pick at you, not pick, but I am going to kind of probe and find out what's going on. And I have asked on a few occasions if after we talk and I can't, hey, Jody, that's your name. Okay. So after we're talking and your attitude can't or won't shift, I have asked before, either can I have another server or can I be moved to another table? Because if you can't change and transition and shift, maybe you need to go home.
Yeah, really.
Or something could be happening. But I also just don't normally, for me, I'm able to kind of shift a person's atmosphere. Like you're saying, let me call your name. Hey, what's going on? You got kids? Normally I can talk you through it. And if I can't do that, yeah, hey, you know what? I need to eat and I want to eat happily.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. No, and I you know what, Tiff, I would say the same thing. Yeah, I can move somebody through. I had a recent experience with a young man named Zachary, and it was extraordinary to me. And this is something I live. I mean, I practice this,
Yeah,
but it never
absolutely.
ceases to amaze me. Just the
Yeah.
transformation, and just I went from being, okay, I got to serve this person, to really, it was a relationship that we had by the end of the hour. And I was having lunch with an incredibly great friend of mine who just happens to be a psychiatrist, and I just adore him, Dr. Martin Rubin.
Okay.
But by the end of it, it was amazing. Just
Yeah.
like, and then and there's so one day we get a call at the sanctuary from another animal shelter, from a dear friend of mine, Dr. Margaret Wright. And do you know what a Boston Terrier is? So it's like a French bulldog, basically.
Yeah.
But so anyway, she said, "Hey, I got this old Boston. She's a grand old lady. Nobody wants her. I don't want to put her to sleep. Do you have room?" We said, "Of course." So we go down there, and sure enough, there's Dr. Wright, and she's this amazing veterinarian and has this beautiful older Boston. And before we could say anything, she said, "I've named her Ruth." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And before like I could even ask, like, "Okay, what inspired you?" She says, "I named her Ruth because I wanted her to have respect, understanding, truth, and honor." And I'm like,
It means something.
and so what I tell people now is, when you remember somebody's name,
Yeah.
you are giving them respect.
Yeah.
You are seeking to understand the truth of who they are.
Yeah.
You want to see the truth. You honor them. That's what you do.
That makes sense. I love
So,
it. You're amazing.
Oh, you're very kind. And my grandmother Grandma Jane, she'd say, "Right back at you."
I'll take that.
And if anybody, please know you can always give out. I'm gonna give you all my information. You can always give out my phone number if somebody wants to talk. Maybe said my dream is lately is that people who have what they call treatment resistant depression, and they've tried all this stuff, and they've heard about shock therapy, but they're like, "Oh man, I don't want to do it." But like, "Oh, this guy said he did 32 sessions.
Yeah.
Give my number. I would love to talk to him." I'm like, "My God, please let me talk to you. Try it."
Gotcha. And how do we reach you?
So, phone number, call me, please, 916-247-6389. Email David at davidwoodsbartley.com. Website, which is being redone, but it's there now, davidwoodsbartley.com.
Social media.
Social media. So if you just Google, I'm on Facebook. The three that I'm on: Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Facebook is the one that I'm most consistent on, and that's David Woody, Woody Bartley. Just Woody is a nickname from Woods, which is my middle name. I don't post, I'll post maybe once every couple of weeks. I'm going to post something today, actually. A dear friend of mine invited me to share an essay I had written. I watched this flight attendant at the end of a flight literally go row by row. And Tiffany, you know what she was doing? Making connection with every single person that she interacted with. And so I had to write an essay, and it's called Row by Row. And it's short, it's not real long, but it was just like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I watched, her name is Judith Ann. I watched Judith Ann do this. I'm like,
wow,
oh my gosh.
That means a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, but thank you so much, Mike. Anything I can do for you, please, 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 please.
I got you. I'm grateful that we were able to connect. We are
I
now.
know, this was amazing.
I really appreciate it. I'll make sure we have all your connecting points as far as us getting in contact with you in the description, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, talks are they're a lot of fun. It's not about me. It's about God. So
it's all about you, but he's using you. So yes, he's using you. Get back to him. That's great.
All right, I will do it.
Grateful for you.
Likewise,
being willing to be used.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything I can ever do for you, please don't hesitate.
I got you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
It was
Love you.
wonderful. Yeah, love you too, babe.
All right,
Bye.
sweetheart. Bye-bye.